This cat is having very intense zoomies.
But the crazy thing is like it's like 50 to 100 milligrams. It's like crazy how effective it is for energy output.
Well,
but people forget that it fucks up your health when you start taking even higher. And they're just like another 100 milligrams, another 100, and it's like 300, 400, 500, 600 milligrams. Like, it's how much energy can the cell actually output? You're just starving the cells by this point, and you're wrecking your own cellular function. You need to pump the.
Zooted on what? Well, it'll be some good old high quality edible Canadian cannabis. 10 milligrams CBD, 10 milligrams THC. Gets me well zooted.
Tom Cruise is known as one of the most charismatic celebrities in Hollywood. When Rolling Stone writer and author Neil Strauss met him, he described him as the perfect specimen, who has a natural ability to remain dominant in any social situation without seeming to exert any effort. And as amazing as that sounds, that kind of superhuman charisma does have a dangerous downside. And it's both of those things that we're going to explore in this video. The specific behaviors that make Tom Cruise such a dominant.
I don't know if it's an indica or sativa. Oh, it's a hybrid. Yeah, it's a hybrid. Oh, man.
Its social force and the potential.
You know, I never thought I would see the day when Ben Shapiro is more based than the Young Turks.
As Israel and the United States carry out multiple war crimes in their war against Iran by targeting civilian infrastructure.
That is not necessarily a war crime. So, infrastructure that's used for civilians can also serve an important military purpose. So say a bridge. If a bridge is being used to transport weapons, troops, armor, and it has some sort of strategic importance in the war, then you can blow out the fucking bridge. Anna's literally a dumb bitch.
Ben Shapiro, who of course has a true affinity for the nation state of Israel, has decided to chime in and express his views on blowing.
The only psychedelic drugs I've taken are just weed and mushrooms. I haven't tried like LSD or MDMA or anything like that. Or a few others, ketamine, DMT. I've never tried anything like that. Yeah, power plants can, anything can be a valid military target. It doesn't matter what type of thing it is. Like, if it's used for some important military purpose, then yes, it can be blown up. Like, again, that's why the bombings of Nagasaki and Hiroshima weren't war crimes. Those were technically civilian areas, but those were industrial hubs that were being used to build war materials. So That's why Nagasaki and Hiroshima were blown up, and they were also given warning to evacuate, which a lot of people don't fucking talk about. But same with the Dresden bombings. Again, Dresden was a civilian area, but the reason they bombed Dresden was because it was such a important what do you call it? It was really important for transporting again troops, materials, supplies in Germany. So they bombed the shit out of Dresden, even though, again, technically it's a civilian area. But it was vitally important for the war. And yeah, sure enough, 2 months after they bombed Dresden, the war was over.
Jasmine, I miss.
Oh my god, how the fuck?
Oh, let me guess. Maybe that's because Ben is Jewish and knows anti-Semitism when he sees it.
True. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Up what he refers to as dual-use infrastructure. Take a look.
Well, on Thursday, the United States blew up.
Like, okay, I'm done. She literally didn't even bother looking up the law or looking up other relevant fucking like cases. Like again, look at World War II. Dresden bombing would be a big one. Plenty of bridges were fucking blown up and destroyed. Lots of train stations and like train transport tracks. A lot of those were blown up and destroyed. Like, again, anything that is being used to support the war effort can, in theory, be considered a valid military target. Including your mom gig, yes. Like, they're just so fucking lazy and stupid. They just don't give a fuck.
Cost of being so charismatic. Let's begin with the charismatic habits. First off, Tom Cruise commands the physical space around him. He spreads out over podiums and kicks his feet up on couches, and he's got no problem touching objects that most people feel belong to someone else.
Coming from the airplane, and it was also cold in the airplane, so it was freezing up there when I was doing it, and I'm wearing a suit like, you know, Cary Grant, North by Northwest.
So you're not wearing a North Face jacket?
No,
like
I'm not wearing a North Face jacket and everything. I was like, man, it's cold.
Tom is also very comfortable touching the people around him.
How are you?
Good, darling. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You look real good.
So do you.
Got a little crush on you. You don't mind it, do you?
No.
No.
Was worth the trip. Thank you. Really, thank you.
This was worth the trip. Oh my God.
This kind of touching can be called
He comes off as a weirdo to me. Pat wants me to kiss Tom Cruise. I don't think that's ever going to happen, so I don't really have to worry about it.
physical expansion, and it's a subtle way of claiming territory. When we touch something, we sub-communicate, I have implicit permission to do this. It's why you might feel uncomfortable when entering someone else's house for the first time, or even on a first date. You're not...
What are the greatest manga anime apart from Berserk? Gantz, Akira, Dorohedoro, Vagabond, Chainsaw Man. And Chainsaw Man finished recently. The ending was fucking fantastic. What else? Ghost in the Shell. Feel like I'm forgetting a few more, but yeah, those are some of the best. Oh yeah, Tom Cruise, middle tooth. Yeah, he had fucked up teeth. Yeah, I mean, Once you get rich, you'll fix your teeth, right? Makes sense.
Not yet sure if touching is appropriate. Tom Cruise, though, quickly sorts that out by touching the people and the objects around him, though it's important to note that he does it in a non-aggressive way. He's not taking your desk or manhandling you, he's simply resting his hand on the desk or
I'd like to see him touch things he's not supposed to at a museum.
giving you a hug. And he does it with a huge, genuine smile on his face, which is more likely to be perceived as a friendly kind of dominance. In fact, he smiles hugely all the time.
You played hockey,
Yeah, I
right?
used to live
That's
in
'cause he's
Canada for a little
crazy.
bit, so I played ice hockey. You got
They,
Canadians here?
Yeah, they've.
Tom has all the hallmarks of a genuine smile, and this is key, because if he simply showed his teeth while touching as often as he does, it would feel very aggressive. Now, I've reviewed this in other videos, but in terms of those signs of a genuine smile, there are 3 key points. First, he has that wide grin that goes back instead of up. Second, a relaxed lower jaw that creates space between his teeth. And third, tension that creates a narrowing of the eyes. All 3 of these line up to make us feel that genuine smile, which becomes infectious. I'm going to link to the other video that discusses this.
How are you, VG? How are you and Pat doing? Rank the 3 Abrahamic religions from worst to least worse. I'm so fucking excited for that last season of The Boys. I hope bitch-ass Homelander loses his powers and is in prison as a regular-ass human for life.
Worst to least worse. Islam, Christianity, Judaism. I haven't been keeping up with The Boys, so... He loses powers. That sounds interesting. Thanks for the donation, Mac fucking Daddy, and me and Pat are doing good. 21st $20. Coach Trevor, she's talking about Trevor from GTA 5, aka Durian Rider.
I just experienced Girls Girl in real life. I was in the mall and these 2 girls were eating sushi and I was eating sushi as well. I made eye contact with them and a few minutes later they're like, do you want to go for a walk around the mall? And I was like, and like they're like, they gave me that look, you know, that girls do, like, and I was like, oh no, it's okay, I'm okay, because I was with Coach Trevor and he looks like, you know, a bit weird, like that. So I was like, oh no, it's okay, I know him. But Coach Trevor thought, like, they recognized me from the internet. So I was like, oh, do you know her? And they're like, yeah.
What's the, is that, like, actually the joke that he looks like Trevor from GTA, so she calls him Trevor?
Yeah, we know her, like, we can go for a walk around the mall. I was like, no, it's okay. And so, yeah, they didn't know me, but they're like, Michelle from China, and they're like, oh, that's you. And yeah, that's something they'll never forget, I'm sure. Because they'll be like thinking about, do you remember that time we tried to save a girl and she turned out to be a girl from the internet? You still hang with Vegan Gains?
We're doing a podcast soon, me and Vegan Gains. Richard reached out, and thanks Richard for reaching out. And we're doing a podcast ASAP.
Okay, Gloria Day says, you can tell this dude works hard. Guarantee he's a welder or works in a foundry or something that requires a helmet. Bunch of horrible judging twats. He's a welder now, this one. Aww.
All right. Well, that's nice. Thanks for the donation, 21st.
Incoming butthurt libtards upset about that you called Islam the worst religion.
Yeah, it is. It is the worst. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
this at length if you're interested. But if you combine all of this with the physical expansion, you get someone who is taking command of a room, but in a way that doesn't create resistance. It's a very powerful combo. But it's not just the smile that makes Tom come across as so likable. When he's speaking to someone, he's very likely to refer to them by name repeatedly. Just watch.
Look, Matt, I'm living my life. I'm just living my life, Matt. I have never worried, Matt, about what other people think. In life, when it just happens, Matt. Isn't that enough? Matt, you have to understand this.
Yeah, this guy is definitely like an autist or something.
Can I ask a personal question about how your emotions work?
Sure, why not? Thanks for the donation, Pino.
Previously mentioned repeating someone's name as a good tool to remember that name, but saying someone's name in conversation also personalizes what you're saying to them. It grabs their attention because when we hear our own name, we immediately perk up. You can use this when telling longer stories to keep people hooked the whole time, and also to let them know that you've taken the time to remember their name in the first place, which is not all that common nowadays. But it's not just those names that keep people hooked on what Tom is saying. He has a very particular way of engaging people with his eye contact. Watch how he pauses what he says, but does not pause the eye contact.
So it is it does seem like a different guy.
Yeah, but it's still, they're still writing it. You gotta understand, all that stuff was, they'd still write it. They'd still talk about it.
Not even your own faith. I find that appalling when people who don't know what they're talking about say things like that.
These little pauses are times when most people would normally check out from listening to what you're saying. After all, you've stopped speaking and basically let them go. But Tom Cruise...
Brad Pitt is definitely less of a weirdo than Tom Cruise.
Doesn't let go. He keeps you paying rapt attention with the intensity of his gaze. And because you're paying rapt attention to essentially silence, you get more drawn in to what he says next. He'll also lean in when he's speaking, which creates the same effect of demanding your attention non-verbally.
Movies are films that I tease him because I say, I know your movies better than you. You're a father. Sure. I'm a father. I always wanted to be a father. Remember when you first held your child, it was like, wow. And psychiatric abuses of electric shocking people, okay, against their will, of drugging children with them not knowing the effects of these drugs. Do you know what Adderall is? Do you know Ritalin?
This highlights a key charisma point that permeates everything Tom Cruise does: strong subcommunication. Now, subcommunication is basically what the nonverbal cues in any interaction are saying, and oftentimes the subcommunication is weak and will betray a person's true feelings, the same way a nervous speaker undercuts their message with a quivering voice. Essentially, they're saying, I don't feel comfortable. But in Tom's case, every single subcommunication is saying, this is important for you to hear. This allows him to slow down his speaking cadence and really get people drawn into what he's saying. Another important subcommunication has to do with voice tonality. Tom has a very decisive tone when he speaks. Listen to the downward inflection as he speaks about his feelings in this next clip.
I think I feel privileged. That's how I feel. I feel I live a privileged life.
Note that he doesn't say, I live a privileged life, which has a more humble and less commanding connotation. Regardless of what you is realizing your belief.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of Zhang Shui-Chin. First I'll look at the background of this case, including the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. Zhang Shui-Chin was born in 1976 in China. His family moved to Toronto, Canada, when he was 6 years old.
Get how we get all the fucking crazies.
He described his parents as very poor and not well educated. In 1999, Zhang graduated from Yale University with a bachelor's degree in English literature. He went to work as a freelance journalist and returned to China. In 2002, he was detained and expelled from the country after documenting a worker protest. Zhang was permitted to return to China and had various teaching positions. Starting in 2022, he was a philosophy teacher at a private high school in Beijing. In June 2023, Zhang started a YouTube channel called Predictive History, which features lectures on history and geopolitics. In the videos, Zhang refers to himself as Professor Zhang, even though he does not have a doctorate and does not work as a university instructor. The main idea behind Zhang's teachings is that he can predict future events based on analyzing history using game theory and something he calls the science of psychohistory. In reality, Zhang is a conspiracy theorist. He claims that he can connect the dots. He can expose all these associations between seemingly unrelated events. Through this technique, he exposes evil elites who are trying to run the world and details their role in causing wars and political upheaval. Zhang believes that the Western world is being controlled by the Illuminati, Freemasons, and Jesuits. In a video titled Geostrategy Number 8, the Iran...
I haven't seen enough of this guy's content. I didn't know he was like Frank Tufano and he literally believes in the Illuminati. Any Frank updates? Oh yes, there are Frank updates. He's going nuts.
The hypothetical reason to get plastic surgery in America is because you can get remediation if something goes wrong.
So we're here at 123 Wyoming in Scranton, which is actually the building that all the state paperwork is filed in. It's not filed at the courthouse, and...
What is the IQ of your mother and father? You're the smartest YouTube I am subscribed to. Is it just because your memory is exceptional? You have good critically thinking comprehension and skill? Or a combination of both? Debate the amazing Lucas, please.
My dad's pretty smart. He's actually pretty smart, sharp guy. He's made some dumb decisions here and there, but overall he's a pretty smart guy. My mom isn't like a dumbass either. So, I think my dad's smarter, but my mom's also pretty smart. I have a pretty good memory. I think what I'm particularly good at is just recalling things that are relevant to whatever I'm arguing about. I just retain weird random bits of information pretty well, and yeah, my critical thinking's pretty good. Who the hell is the amazing Lucas? Never heard of that guy. But thanks for the donation, Macboner Daddy. Appreciate it.
Frank uploaded a new short. Purchased my third Decilon 10 slide rule.
Yes, we're watching his new shorts, and that sounds like fun. Thanks for the donation, James.
They performed property tax assessments last year and evaluated everyone's property at like 5 times the incorrect value. So
here we go.
I submitted an appeal hearing, and I also filed a lawsuit against the county at the same time. But because I filed a lawsuit against the county, they did some internal sketchy stuff and purposefully did not notify me of my hearing date, because for 3 properties, I did not receive one letter in the mail saying, here is your hearing date, where you can, then dispute the appraised value. So now at this point, I am stuck paying.
Notice the wording. I didn't receive any mail. So they probably sent him an email, and he just ignored it. So
$2 million in taxes on a $300,000 building, which I obviously cannot do.
Wait.
Now, at this point, I am stuck paying $2 million in taxes on a $300,000 building, which I...
What the fuck is he talking about? So no one's property tax is that high. He's probably confusing a few different things and making shit up and exaggerating shit. I don't know what the fuck he's even talking about, but It sounds like he didn't pay his property taxes.
Do you feel some abstract sense of pain when you see someone else in pain, or is there no reaction? Furthermore, do you feel sad yourself when you see a close friend or relative is sad?
Oh. Hey, Gum Gum. Oh, you want to share some lettuce? Oh, this is a good cat. Oh my god. It kind of depends. There's certain things that definitely trigger like a cringe response. Like if somebody's going to get a really bad lifting injury, I think it's because I imagine that happening to myself. And then there's like this weird like cringe response that I get. Other than that, when I just see random people I don't know get hurt, like I don't think it's good. But yeah, I don't like internalize any kind of feelings from it. And do I feel sad myself when I see a close friend or relative is sad? Sometimes. They have to be very, very close. Like, if they're just related to me or they're not like a very good close friend, then no. Thanks for the donation though, Pino.
I obviously cannot do, I will be out of business. And the court case in the local state court against the county, you can guess, the judge...
Dish. Do you guys see how beautiful Gummy is? Gummy is just so beautiful. I love him so much. This is just such a good cat. I'm just so lucky to have a good cat like Gummy. He's so big and handsome. Just look at him. Oh my goodness, what a good Gum Gum. What a good baby. Oh, he is so good. Yeah, you're a good baby, aren't you? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you're so good. Oh, I love you, little baby. Let's see. I'll look at those links after we watch Frank Tufano. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Is in bed with the county and completely dismissed my case and is not allowing me to represent myself, despite being discriminated against twice by the county. One, for being visually disabled and not
He is not visually disabled.
receiving the first hearing notice.
Is he claiming his eyes prevented him from being able to receive his mail? Because of those stupid, dumb eye surgeries he had?
And then being retaliated against for filing a lawsuit against the county. So what we're going to do is get run over by a truck, apparently. I don't know if this guy sees me. So we're going to move a little bit. But we're going to file a new lawsuit in the federal...
This guy was literally sitting on the road filming a fucking video.
court, and we also appealed the state lawsuit because the county is just a bunch of crooks, and the next round of appeal hearings is for next year. So there is no way for me to rectify this tax situation without using the court system now. I'm screwed.
Congratulations.
The next round of
Dan.
appeal hearings is, okay, they can fix it next year, but now I have to file a federal case, file all these appeals, maybe even have to pay a crooked lawyer to fix this, even though I don't want to, because I have a feeling as soon as I give a lawyer...
Here we go. Here we go. Oh, Gum Gum. Yeah. Hmm. So basically, he's not paying his taxes.
Any money, they're just going to completely screw me over, and they're probably not going to help me. What's going to happen is I'm going to call a lawyer. They're going to look into who I am. They're going to read the case I filed, and and then the county or their secret society overlords are going to tell them not to help me or not to represent me. So I might have to, at some point, pass the bar exam here in PA just to be allowed to represent myself in this crooked court. So basically, we're hoping that the federal filing is going to halt the tax proceedings, which is the only fair thing.
There we go. So he didn't pay his taxes, and he's doing this bullshit to just buy time.
I had the properties professionally appraised, which costs a lot of money, and they put them at the correct value, which is what I said, 1/5 of what the county assessed them at. So we'll see how things go.
You can see why plastic surgeons don't want women in the gym. A few months on a high-protein diet, working out with resistance training, will give them far superior, long-lasting results compared to any of these nonsense surgeries. Liposuction, breast augmentation, abdominoplasty, breast lift. Every single surgeon in the United States would be out of business for the most part because they are preying on young, insecure women who don't understand the limitations and long-term effects of these procedures. There is no reason to get something done that can be cured by a few months in the gym. It's preposterous. And blepharoplasty, which is an eye procedure, they always look better before. I have never seen one blepharoplasty done where the girl looks better after the procedure. These oculoplastic, these eye surgeons are a whole different story. They don't have any legitimate procedures that make you look better.
This company really made a meat cereal, so I had to try it. I'm gonna give an honest review. I just bought these.
You guys joke?
These people are retarded.
About all the lawsuits I have filed. You guys make fun of me for being at the courthouse, yet every single week, someone is literally starting an entire company off of one of my product ideas. I'm basically the Nikola Tesla of health and nutrition products. No, this company did not make a meat cereal. They stole Frank Tufano's meat granola, they reverse engineered it, and they used their daddy's truck.
Reverse engineer what? It's literally meat with... Are those raisins and just some flaked oats? There's nothing to reverse engineer. You don't have a fucking patent for adding raisins and cereal to ground meat.
Trust fund money to pay off influencers to promote it, and probably the judges to dismiss my case after I serve them with a lawsuit next week. Huh? Please, you guys see my financial state. You see what my house looks like. I'm living in a flooded shack. I was literally going to close down my shop, close down my business last week. And these people think it's a game to rub it in my face and promote each other and jerk each other off that they're stealing my ideas. This is what they would do to you as people.
This company really made a meat.
Frank is genuinely retarded. And so is this guy, Jesus Christ. Imagine eating meat cereal. How stupid you'd have to be.
Is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
Well, my understanding is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all.
Yeah.
Like, how is this guy allowed on social media? Murder people for owning property, says the property owner. Meet Palmer, lucky he is another tech billionaire who profits from killing people. We won't let him get away with this. Oh, is this some AI thing?
Palmer Luckey, the founder of Endural Industries, who the New York Times calls the Pentagon's favorite tech guy. He looks unassuming, I know, but he's actually at the forefront of the US's military-industrial tech complex that is making billions of dollars off of war. A couple of weeks ago, we called him out for making AI and autonomous weapons that are being used to kill civilian population. And
Why would they use AI to kill civilians? you don't need any high technology to kill random people. If that was the goal, you'd just drop bombs. The whole point of AI is that it can find and select targets and be discriminatory. Like, this makes no fucking sense.
He replied, of course, that he's actually saving lives. It's the oldest excuse in the book, and it's not even clever. We know that killing people is not about saving lives. We know. We actually spend American lives.
Killing people is not about saving lives. Okay. I guess killing the Nazis was a bad idea. We should have just let them just kill Jews, right? Like, oh, well, that's what they want, right? So, yeah. Oh my god. Go fuck yourself, you dumb bitch.
Come with me to shop for my 2-week Iceland trip.
2 weeks is a long time in Iceland, and we wanted to cook there when we can, so here's what I got. First, these chili lime soy crisps are life-changing, and we definitely need this on the road. I also got the original flavor. Then I stocked up on oat milk because I'm gonna be making my own matcha there, and I found my favorite hot chocolate mix that also happens to be vegan, so oat milk is gonna work perfectly for this as well. For condiments, I went with Tabasco, soy sauce, sesame oil, chili sesame oil. We were also gonna bring microwavable black rice for emergencies, but also a small 1 kg pack of rice if we wanted to actually cook the rice. Plant-based luncheon meat because I foresee us having a hot pot situation since it's gonna be quite cold. And that reminded me, I also had to get vegetable stock and bean curd rolls. They are absolute essentials.
There's literally so many flavors.
Then onto the noodles section. I was spoiled for choice but ended up going with Maggi curry noodles and Jin ramen. Also for emergencies, I got the jjajangmyeon, which also happens to be accidentally vegan, and spicy mushroom noodles. For snacks, we got the Hu chocolate and seaweed. Enjoy and stay tuned to see what we ate in Iceland on our honeymoon.
U.S. lifts sanctions on Venezuela's new leader, removing sanctions. Countries acting leader conduct business with companies. Yeah. What are they complaining about? Okay, so they're just claiming she's a co-conspirator with Maduro, but they're not doing anything to have her reform. Like, Democrats are just fucking idiots, dude. These people are just communist brain rat fucktards. I don't know what the Code Pink lady was complaining about. She is just a fucking retard, but she's playing ball with United States interests, and just because of the cartel situation there, they can't just put somebody in charge who's a real elected official, because the cartels would just kill them. So what do you want them to do? Do you want a full-scale invasion of Venezuela to get rid of the cartels? Is that what you want? Well, then you just start complaining, right? Problem solved. If there were 4 astronauts on the Artemis mission, who is filming? Probably they literally just put up the camera. The camera floats. It's in space. Like, this is not a NASA video. It's fake. What? Readers added context? Are they talking about the post the guy made? I don't know. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Now do an impersonation of a butthurt libtard upset about what you said about Islam.
I can't believe you said that about Islam. You're Islamophobic. Islam is a beautiful, rich culture, and Muslims are peaceful. I have friends that are Muslim, and I live in a Muslim neighborhood, and my girlfriend's only been raped by a Muslim Syrian refugee 3 times. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Do you think Trump makes a fair point about how the US should leave NATO and reconsider our alliance with Japan and South Korea? Since they have continuously refused to help us when we ask for just a tiny bit of help. And his 356 large credit bill that is also due?
Yeah, he's also got that. Thanks for the donation, James. He's probably just going to wind up in jail. I mean, it's not tenable at this point for the U.S. to leave NATO. The U.S. benefits a shit ton from NATO, even if other countries won't come to support. Just having easy, free access to having, like, you know, ports, airfields, being able to install military bases wherever you want in NATO-aligned countries, you know, easy pathways for communication. It's still a huge benefit, but I understand I understand the point he's making. Thanks for the donation, 21st.
I mention it because it seemed like you were able to personalize that one guy's pain in the old video about a bodybuilder getting an infection in his leg. Maybe I'm mistaken.
I mean, I can sympathize with the issue. It's just, I don't internalize things the way other people do generally. Thanks for the donation, Pino.
Fuck you, Dodo. You asshole. Also, VG, your intelligence has to be around Isaac's level. I recently bought the K2 FIT90 BOA inline skate, blue color, and the fucking BOA system exploded on my left skate. Super annoying. I'm not sure on how to fix it.
That's pretty unusual. BOA closure systems tend to be very robust and reliable. I would either see if you can just get a replacement lacing knob, or just return them to the store and ask for a warranty or something. Thanks for the donation, Mac Anal Daddy. Sleepy donated $2. Reddit, Frank. Frank and the Gang Stalkers AI. That's funny. Thanks for the donation, Sleepy. Jack, we want to play Jack. Okay, well, we'll do that in a bit. Don't worry.
Trap, which was published on May 29, 2024, Zhang made 3 predictions. Donald Trump would win the election later that year, the United States would go to war with Iran, and Iran would eventually be victorious. Initially, the video did not really attract any attention, but later, when the first 2 predictions proved correct, Zhang obtained massive popularity. By April 2026, his channel had 2.24 million subscribers and had been viewed 73 million times. Here are a few of his video titles that sum up his channel pretty well. Secret History number 10, Conspiracy of Evil. Secret History number 27, Empire of Evil. Geostrategy Update number 8, Why the West is Doomed. Civilization End, The Decline and Fall of the American Empire. Geostrategy number 11, The Second American Civil War. And Great Books number 1, Secrets of the Universe. Zhang has made seemingly thousands of predictions in his videos. Many of them involve the collapse of the global economy and the destruction of the United States. Interest in Zhang's message of doom and gloom has been intense. Many of his fans focus on how his predictions relate to the current political environment. On March 20, 2026, Zhang was interviewed by the controversial conservative commentator Tucker Carlson. In the beginning of the interview, Tucker admitted he did not really know much about Zhang, but said that he saw his videos and was impressed that he could make accurate predictions. As the interview progressed, Zhang offered many predictions about the war in Iran and how it would affect the rest of the world. He believed that a global economic disaster was on the way, the United States would deindustrialize, and would need to take over other countries like Greenland, Canada, Mexico, Cuba, and Venezuela in order to secure resources. Eventually, Trump will use the draft to fight the war, but in the end, the U.S. would be fine. This is a curious departure from Zhang's usual prediction, where the U.S. is doomed. At the time I am making this video, Zhang continues to enjoy incredible success on social media. He is widely referred to as China's Nostradamus and has captured the attention of those inclined to believe in conspiracies. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. Zhang tends to embrace conspiracy theories that feed into the larger narrative of a new world order engineered by evil elite operators. For example, he believes that antidepressants are being used as population control. Donald Trump is intent on living forever by harnessing collective human attention, and the Oscar-winning film, One Battle After Another, was a coordinated attempt to start a civil war. The lessons in his videos mostly involve him speaking abstractly, to the extent where he is talking in circles.
Yeah, this, like, if you just hear him talk, he's a fucking retard. Wasn't he like an English teacher in China? That's all he really ever did?
I'm convinced that a random word generator could create a lecture indistinguishable from his. The program would just need to contain the following words: mission creep, extremism, Knights Templar, Freemasons, Messianic, shadow forces, assimilate, modernism, immigration, multiculturalism, DEI, population replacement, indoctrination, brainwashing, consumerism, and New World Order. Item number 2. A key feature of the lessons produced by Zhang involved him assigning a predictive value to seemingly unrelated events. This is the connecting the dots component, which is extremely popular among conspiracy theorists. Zhang groups events together, claims they are associated, and uses them to predict geopolitical outcomes. A good example of this is featured in a video he released on April 2, 2026, titled Game Theory Number 18, Trump World Order. Talking about the war in Iran, Zhang predicted the United States would launch a ground invasion. This prediction was based on his observation of 3 events. 1. Suspicious polymarket bets were being placed on the invasion. Presumably, these bettors know something that other people don't. 2. Pizza orders had increased. The logic here is that when Pentagon workers are preparing to launch a ground invasion, they work overtime. This leads to them ordering pizza. And 3, Zhang said that gay bars were suddenly empty. This is based on the same idea. The workers are putting in overtime, so they cannot frequent the gay bars as usual. I'm convinced that Zhang could group any events together to predict anything he wants. This is easy to do when the events can be disconnected from one another. Item number 3. In theory, Zhang became popular because he accurately predicted Trump would be elected and that the U.S. would go to war with Iran. Some people believe this means he must be the real deal. His ability to analyze history is unprecedented.
Zhang said 30% of women are on OnlyFans. Oh my god, dude. It's all left-wing progressive crazies who like this guy too, by the way. So that'll tell you all you need to know.
Precedented. Is this true? Does Zhang have analytical superpowers? In my opinion, no. Millions of people predicted that Trump would be elected. There's nothing amazing or special about that prediction. As far as predicting the war with Iran, The United States almost went to war with the country during Trump's first term. It's also worth noting how Zhang has made thousands of predictions. He is bound to be right some of the time. Item number 4. As I was watching some of Zhang's videos, I realized...
Ha ha, there's no fucking way Trump will live forever, because he's old and obese.
Yeah, he ain't living much longer. He's like, it could go either way. He's gotten lucky like all his life, but it wouldn't surprise me if he just dies before his term is over. Because he's not in great shape. It looks like he does have congestive heart failure or something. That would explain the edema that he was having in his ankles. Like, that was really, really severe edema. Horrible. So, pee pee poo poo bum bum. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo.
I think I used to feel no/pseudo empathy for people. I just didn't feel their internal state at all, but I recently took 4 tabs and smoked a joint and had the worst trip of my life, and it feels like it gave me empathy and it's debilitating.
Whenever I'm on mushrooms, I feel like I have normal levels of empathy, and it's weird. I don't like it because, yeah, it feels like it is limiting and crippling in some way. Like, I have an interest in being a good moral person, so even if I don't, like, internalize some feelings of empathy like normal people do, it doesn't mean that I'm like, yeah, okay, like, I don't care if people torture or suffer or anything. It's not like that. But yeah, it's just kind of frustrating and annoying. But it goes away after the high goes away. I've seen them actually do experiments even on octopus, where if they give octopi MDMA, they actually become more empathetic and lovey-feely, touchy and stuff. It's pretty interesting. So I think some of these psychedelic drugs actually do trigger something in your brain that activates an empathetic response. This actually looks cool. I'll add that to my wish list. Thanks for the donation though, Pino. Yeah, they got OG, RE2, and RE3. That's kind of interesting. I don't know if I can handle playing a game that old. The fixed camera perspective really fucking triggers me. I was actually enjoying RE0 though.
At this rate, I don't even think he will make it to 80 this June. The downside of Trump dying is that we will be stuck with J.D. Vance as president.
Yeah, I'd rather him not die until his term is over. For a variety of reasons, that would just be better. But thanks for the donation, Dodo. Metal Thunder. Is this just an AC-130 game? Hmm. Mixed. Fun but buggy. Random upgrade. Slow refload. No fun campaign. Yeah, it's got mixed reviews. Stalker 2 is just garbage. Everyone's a fucking idiot. That's just a shit game. I gotta try playing Toxic Commando. Oh, is the new Life is Strange out? Shit. We gotta play this. My favorite lesbian couple. I love watching girls kiss. It's also hot when naked girls cuddle. Like, lick each other's pussies and butts. That's also hot.
I realized that his style seemed familiar. Where have I seen this before? He promotes vague philosophical concepts. He talks about religion, history, modernism,
Maybe I'll play classic RE2 and 3. Maybe. It's just, like, it's PS1. I was more of an N64 kid. Like, I didn't have a PS1. I just had a friend who had a PS1, and the only games I remember playing on the PlayStation were Spyro, which I thought was kind of meh, and some stupid wrestling game. Some WWE wrestling game. So I never had any experience as a kid with games with a fixed camera angle, the only exception being Devil May Cry 1. And even then, it's just not anywhere close to the fixed camera in Resident Evil. It's a lot more modern. So it's like, it's a little easier if you experienced it as a kid and you're more used to it. Like, it's just jarring for me to go back that, like, into that time period and then have to deal with a fixed camera like that. So,
Marxism and geopolitical crises. He warns about evildoers conspiring to destroy culture. With a high level of confidence, he offers a unifying theory about how the world functions. He makes unconventional connections between unrelated items. He speaks in abstractions to a degree where they are indistinguishable from nonsense. And he became incredibly popular very quickly, based on people embracing his political view. I was thinking to myself, who does this guy remind me of? And then it came to me. Zhang is not China's Nostradamus. He is China's Jordan Peterson. There are still, of course, significant differences between the men. Most notably, Jordan Peterson worked as a professor. He is not a conspiracy theorist, and some of his narratives are coherent and logical. Zhang is a fake professor, promotes conspiracy theories, and should never be accused of making sense. Item number 5, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Zhang Shui-Qin views himself as a philosophical genius who can teach the world a great deal. He believes that his decision to make videos is what made him famous, saying, quote, before,
the feeling won't go away. It's so bad that I cry when sad songs play in the grocery store. I do not want another week of this, but it won't tone down. I fear someone I know is going to express grief and I'm going to fucking cry or some shit. I might try Shan.
You said you did LSD, right? That's kind of interesting. Estrogen increases the density of 5-HT2A receptors in the brain, which are the primary targets for classical psychedelics like LSD. Consequently, higher estrogen levels, such as during the late follicular phase of the menstrual cycle, may lead to more intense or pronounced psychedelic experiences. Reduced sensitivity in specific phases. Conversely, some studies suggest that female rats in specific high estrogen phases may have lower sensitivity. It's fucking rats. LSD acts on 5-HT2A receptors to influence the release of reproductive hormones, can induce acute changes in cortisol, prolactin, and oxytocin. So this might be an effect that this might be like some sort of prolonged hormonal effect. That's interesting. I did not know that. Just go on testosterone. You'll feel better. I find when my estrogen levels are a little elevated on testosterone, I can, in some circumstances, like, get a little more emotional, like I feel more from watching a movie, but it's like a good feeling. So I don't not like it. There are a lot of dudes who've gone on TRT and they noticed they cry a little easier. Whatever, but I've generally found that you're more mood stable, and it's easier to kind of control your emotions. Thanks for the donation, though, Pino. SV donated $3. My goodness, is that Gumbish?
Sign your compass. If you are an aquarium, then you are fall down compass.
Oh no.
If you are a Pisces, you are sea bug compass. If you are a candy corn, you are evil compass. If you are a Sagittarius, you are best friend compass. If you are a Scorpion, you are me a compass. If you are a library, you are tucked in compass. If you are Virgo, you are blue compass. If you are a Leo, you are chomp compass.
Chomp.
If you are an Ariel, you are cinnamon roll compass. If you are one of the other ones, you are box compass. Very cool.
I really like hermit crabs. Hermit crabs are really cool. They look cute with their weird little eyes. They seem very conscious. They have like reasoning skills and they like cooperate in groups. It's really weird. Even though like technically they don't have a brain, they have like it's like the first evolutionary step to developing a brain. I like that cat. That cat's good. Wow. It'd be kind of cool being a cat just doing this. My God, he's so person.
Hello,
am going to attempt to have a 2-hour-long conversation with ChatGPT.
For you. If there's something specific on your mind, entire Wikipedia page out loud. If
The fuck is this problem?
I get it.
Came into our culture.
Yeah, it's not particularly interesting. Thanks for the donation, SV.
BTW, there is nothing wrong with men crying, regardless of what some people say.
Yeah, just not if you do it like Jordan Peterson.
I'm actively on testosterone. I started 200 milligrams in December and went up to 250 start of March since no sides whosoever and improved bloods, so why not push it? Not on AI because I never felt I needed, but maybe increased estrogen changed my experience of LSD.
Yeah, it seems like it very likely had a role. The highest dose of test I've ever been on without using some form of AI was 267, so right about 250. If I push beyond that, the only E2 side effect that I get from it is really itchy nipples. They get so itchy it's annoying and I can't stand it, so... I wasn't developing gyno or feeling any pain, but yeah, the nipple sensitivity and like the itchiness just like it was too annoying. So I've taken 350, and around 350 I feel like the itchy nipple stuff. And I just use Boldnone as an AI. It's way easier to control E2 with Boldnone compared to something like Arimidex, and it's anabolic too, and it has benefits for collagen synthesis and shit, so. But yeah, people massively overblow the side effects from like test. It's extremely well tolerated. But yeah, test is great. Thanks for the donation, Pino. I've never taken LSD. I've only taken magic mushrooms. I don't know if psilocybin has some estrogen related things. Yeah, HT2A receptors. I've never taken magic mushrooms while on test. I don't know if it would impact the experience. I've had like extremely crazy potent trips on mushrooms, and my estrogen was very fucking low. I'm not a particularly high converter, so yeah, I don't know if that would make the trips that much more fucking crazy. Thanks for the donation, Pino.
I was nobody. Before, I was just a random high school teacher in China. But because I chose to speak up, I am having influence in the world, unquote. Zhang's expanded vocabulary and misuse of the term professor have convinced many people that he is an expert.
SV donated $3. Let me see.
What the hell do men want?
Watch this.
Men are easy to please. I don't know why women ever get confused.
Agreed, VG hermit crabs are wonderful. They are a fine example of how even animals with no backbone can be sentient. It's just a shame that they are also one of the most neglected pets.
Just on the side of the road. They were left overnight, so their little enclosure was flooded and wet.
Oh.
As the universe would have it.
Oh, poor little crabs.
I actually had been preparing to adopt crabs from a rescue, and within a couple hours...
Oh, those look like sweet crabs. Look at them. He's got a Spider-Man shell.
I had them set up in their temporary new enclosure, and they're doing so well so far.
Oh, look at your little crab.
They were in the painted shells, which are toxic to them. Their legs were hanging out of their shells. They couldn't fully retract inside. They needed
Gotta get them bigger shells.
to switch out of those shells like yesterday. I created a shell shop. That's important for them to have shells available at all times. They started shell shopping immediately.
Yeah.
And then I chose their name based
Yeah, it's really funny. They have to try multiple shells and then they find one that they prefer and fits better.
off of their shell
Really
vibe.
cute.
Peach, Pierre, Juniper, and Krebs. The supplies that I needed for the Crabitat were a lot of climbing and
Crabitat.
enrichment items. I know their health is improving because they all just have really different interests and personalities, and I'm glad that they're feeling comfortable to come out and interact with the different enrichment items.
Oh.
I have been inspired by these little guys.
I want to adopt a crab. They seem kind of easy to take care of. I don't know. I'll look into it. Maybe I will adopt a crab. They look neat. Yes, good muddy dogs. Thanks for the donation, SV.
Expert on geopolitics and history. No small number of his diehard fans are looking for confirmation that their conspiratorial views are correct. Zhang satisfies this desire for them. His message may seem depressing at first. Again, he predicts the destruction of the United States. But this actually fits with the thinking of those who believe in wide-ranging conspiracies. Imminent global collapse is viewed as a good thing because it makes everything possible again. They believe the world is about to reset. All the people who are rich, successful, and famous, all the people who are constantly winning at everything, will soon be losing. This satisfies a desire for revenge, which can be strangely reassuring to some people. There's also another key element that is attractive about conspiracy theories. If the system is being controlled by evil forces, then a setback in one's life is no longer a personal failure. No one has misfortune based on their own actions. Rather, they fail.
That's why you see so many narcissists have conspiratorial beliefs, like Frank.
Because the system is broken. There is always someone else to blame. There is no personal responsibility.
Where do you see Canada in 10 years after Islam takes over our government, mass immigration, blah, blah, blah? Well, here's the thing. The big immigration influx with Canada is mostly coming from India, and Indians hate Muslims. So if there's a much, like, disproportionately high Indian population that can vote, they're gonna make sure Muslims don't take over. Like, look what happened in India. Muslims have literally become second-class citizens, and Modi basically tried to make it really difficult for them to even technically have citizenship. So, because of the ratio of Indians being imported versus Muslims, I'm not particularly concerned. On top of that, Canada is like just such a huge territory, and we have an electoral college, which is good. So even really big provinces that have like huge cities like Ontario with Toronto and Ottawa and shit, if most of the Muslims are coming there, they don't have that much actual voting power. And the other good news is Canada's just gotten so fucking expensive. A lot of Muslims just aren't moving here anymore. They're just getting priced out. So we'll see what happens. I think the bigger problem Canada has is, oh yeah, I was going to react to the Patrick Boyle video too. Patrick actually just uploaded a video about it. Basically, Canada is run by retarded, corrupt, libtard fuckwits, and there's a lot of political and private corruption that's just cock-blocking any real productive industry. So that's the biggest problem Canada has. It's not like Europe or the UK. Nowhere close. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. SV donated $2. Let me see.
This, like any story worth telling, is all about me, Peter Parker. That's me next to her. Heck, I'm even him.
Peter, may I introduce my father? Peter, heard so much about you.
Great honor to meet you, sir.
You know, I'm something of a puppet myself.
Yes,
Impressive.
really brilliant.
Think you're pretty funny, don't you, freak?
I don't want to fight you, Peter.
I wouldn't want to fight me neither.
Exactly.
You're changing. I know. I went through exactly the same thing at your age. Just be careful who you change into.
Are you afraid that I'm going to turn into some kind of Tom Holland? Quit worrying about me, okay? Stop lecturing me, please.
Right.
I'm Peter Parker.
Yes, everyone is.
Since we all look the same, it doesn't matter who's running the company.
What?
The board expects your resignation in 30 days.
But you can't do this to me. I started this company.
You know how much I sacrificed?
Who are you?
You know who I am.
I do.
Because we all look the same.
You're an amazing creature, Spider-Man. You and I are not so different.
Bro, we have the same face.
Bingo.
Do I get to say thank you this time?
Wouldn't that look like I'm kissing myself, thus making me gay?
This girl is important to me. Please, look at her.
She looks like everyone else.
What are you saying?
Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us.
Fuck, I got the wrong Peter Parker.
Oh, that was one of the best Spider-Man memes. That was great. Thanks for the donation, SV.
The message that Zhang is promoting is actually amazingly powerful.
Kid Boo donated $2. Let me see.
We gotta fight.
Yeah. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
It may be abstract, but it connects with people in a concrete way. They don't really necessarily understand what he is saying, but they don't need to. They just need to know that he agrees with them. He is proof that...
No, VG, they're not that easy to take care of at all. In fact, they are one of the hardest pets to take care of. I do not recommend them.
Hi guys. Hermit crabs are one of the most abused pets in the world, and here's why. Hermit crabs don't breed easily in captivity, so most of the hermit crabs that are sold in pet stores and beach souvenirs shops are in fact taken from the wild. In facilities that supply hermit crab, they are kept in cramped, filthy conditions with nowhere to dig, lack of proper food, and no access to water to keep their gills damp for breathing. And the abuse
Oh, poor crabs.
doesn't stop there. Sometimes, workers use a manual lever to crack open their shells and force the hermit crabs to choose more attractive looking shells that are often painted with toxic paint. The cracking
It's fucking disgusting.
process can result in sharp shell fragments that could injure the crab. And the crabs often drop their limbs due to the sheer amount of stress that they undergo. Hundreds of crabs literally die every day in such facilities. While I acknowledge that there is probably a small group of people who are able to give proper care, let's be honest here. Majority of the buyers, a lot of whom are kids who are momentarily interested, will not be able to keep them alive for long. As much as they are interesting pets, maybe we shouldn't remove them from the wild because that will be really...
Poor hermit crabs. I didn't know that. I love hermit crabs. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
That it is very easy to win the affection of conspiracy theorists. They are not picky about who they support.
What do you think of the Palestinian flag being raised in the city of Toronto, Dundas Square, being renamed by people who are not born in Canada? Retarded. Yeah, obviously. And, like, this is what you get when you have liberal leadership. They have no loyalty to their own country.
The only thing Zhang had to do was confidently spew philosophical abstractions for hours, and he does appear to be quite capable in that domain. One prediction that I can make about Zhang is that he will continue cranking out predictions at an alarming rate, and be celebrated when one of them is proven accurate. The celebration will occur even if dozens of others are proven inaccurate.
Yep. Dodo Nine Tellers, read the comments.
What's the leading cause of deforestation?
Suddenly, no meat eater gets their meat from their local grocery store. Lol. Yeah. Dr. Jack slaughtered them. Thought I was watching factory farm footage for a second. No meat eater ever supports factory farming, yet basically everyone gets their meat from a grocery store. Boxer calls vegan emotional, proceeds to get extremely emotional. Yeah, these are great. They're getting fucking ratioed. That's hilarious. Hmm. Oh my goodness, she's looking at a hummingbird. That's so cute. What is this audio obtained by Free Beacon Show's Michigan Democrat Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed warning not to make a statement about Khamenei's death because a lot of people in Dearborn are sad. Jeez.
Like, if this is going to destabilize the region, I also want to remind you guys that there are a lot of people in Dearborn who are sad today. So, like, I just don't want to comment on Khamenei at all. Like, I don't think it's worth even touching that. Like, if this is going to destabilize the region,
Dude. And only the Democratic Party allows this shit. And only Democrats would elect fucking leaders like this. Because of this, like, white guilt fucking horseshit. It's just nuts.
Spain, France, Italy, Ireland and others have all denied US refueling tankers and other US aircraft ability to use their airspace. So what are you talking about? They set up bases and logistics in these countries and in wartime are being denied them.
He might have... Yeah, he might have a stronger point. We'll see. We'll see how things go. Ryan Macbeth has commented on this. He doesn't think the U.S. is going to pull out of NATO. It's still way too important a strategic ally. Just because this is happening a little bit here and there right now under the Trump administration, it doesn't mean long-term it's a good idea. And very likely a lot of this has to do with Trump, right? So... like, these countries have their own political interests, right? So they need to have some sort of legitimacy as a ruling party. So when you have Trump making all these threats, imposing tariffs, and then there's like these large U.S. military fleets going into these countries, these leaders are going to look really weak, incompetent. It's going to seem hypocritical and cowardly. So it probably has more to do with that, Trump not being a good kind of diplomat. So long term, it doesn't mean it's a good idea to pull out of NATO. But again, I can understand what Trump is saying. Thanks for the donation, 21st. W. Richard, well, thank you, Tyson.
About a month ago, I made a video called "The UK is a Warning to the Rest of the World." It was about the entirely avoidable economic stagnation that overtook what was once the world's preeminent industrial power. The comment section of that video was unusually lively, but some comments really stood out. A lot of my viewers were saying some version of, just change the name of the country and you've basically described Canada. They said this, it should be noted, very politely. So today, let's talk about Canada. Now, back in 2012, a comparison like that would have seemed absurd. At that point, the global consensus on Canada was that it was the ultimate best of all worlds economy. It had the natural resources of a Gulf state, the social safety net of a Northern European country, and a housing market that only seemed to move in one direction. Canada is a country that on paper should be one of the wealthiest nations on earth. It has the second largest landmass in the world. It holds the third largest proven oil reserves. It's fifth in natural gas. It has an abundance of uranium, potash, rare earth minerals, and fresh water. It has a highly educated population, a stable democracy, rule of law, and G7 membership. By every measure of endowment, Canada should be a superpower. In fact, there was a brief window in 2012 where the median Canadian household actually pulled ahead of its American counterpart, becoming by several measures the most affluent middle class in the world. Looking back from 2026, it's clear that this outperformance was driven by a unique set of circumstances. It was the height of a global commodity boom where crude oil prices had nearly quadrupled over a decade, and the Canadian dollar was trading at or above parity with the US dollar. While high energy prices were a headwind for the US, they were a massive tailwind for Canada. But if you look at the data today, that era of outperformance has vanished. The decline.
What do you think of Durian Rider sleeping with a 20-year-old at age 53? I'd call that W-Riz.
Isn't marked by a sudden collapse or a dramatic crisis. It's a slow, but always polite stagnation. Between 2012 and today, Canada has fallen from number 6 on the World Happiness Index to number 25, its lowest ranking since the survey began. To see a national mood sour this quickly, you usually have to look at countries whose central banks have been replaced by printing presses or whose borders are being redrawn. In Canada, the institutions are still there and the borders haven't moved. It's just that the arithmetic of a middle-class life has slowly stopped balancing. National income per head has fallen from roughly 80% of the American level in the decade before the pandemic to around 70% today. If Canadian provinces were American states, Alberta, the oil-rich outlier, would rank around 20th wealthiest, somewhere between Colorado and Tennessee. Ontario, Canada's most populous and economically central province, would rank 48th, below Montana, below Alabama, and below every southern state except Mississippi. New Brunswick would rank dead last, below Mississippi. The provinces that contain most
NATO is a mutual defense pact. Trump started an offensive against Iran. Why would you expect NATO to contribute? Like, it might be nice if they did, but they are under no obligation. You used to make this very point when Russia would say NATO is an aggressor.
So, first of all, Iran attacked one of America's allies, and Iran has also attacked the United States, along with every other one of our allies. They have terrorist cells in literally every fucking country. So saying this is just an offensive war is really fucking stupid. They're also developing nuclear weapons and shit. Again, they're the world's biggest sponsor of terrorism. And they're funding fucking terrorists that are attacking international trade. So, like, again, saying it's just an offensive war is fucking stupid. Under, like, the NATO treaty, yeah, they don't have an obligation to actually help the U.S., but they should, because it, like, one, it's in their own fucking interest to do so. And two, like, it's just the right thing to fucking do. Thanks for the donation, stupid.
Most of Canada's population sit near the bottom of the combined list. A country that was briefly richer per capita than the United States is now having a serious debate about whether it can arrest a generational decline.
So Michelle's an adult woman. She's 20. Saying she's being groomed is fucking retarded.
British disease that I described last month was an object lesson in compounding errors, but Canada's version of this stagnation is unique. It's a story of how a country with every possible advantage managed to fall into what Bank of Canada Senior Deputy Governor Caroline Rogers called, in a 2024 speech, a productivity emergency. The reason I think the rest of the world should pay attention to Canada is not that Canada is failing spectacularly. It is failing gradually, systematically, and in ways that are entirely legible, compounding errors that reinforce each other, each one individually defensible, collectively ruinous. The same patterns are visible in
Dodo donated $2, but the cruelty to crabs does not end there, VG.
Until they're completely across the table, they will advance on to the second race.
Poor hermit crabs. I had no idea about this. When I get my godlike powers, I will destroy all those who are cruel to hermit crabs and all other animals. I really wish I had powers like Superman. Oh, dude. I would fuck shit up like you can't believe.
In countries across the developed world. Canada just got there first. So let's go through them. But before we do, let me tell you about this week's video sponsor.
I still technically do OnlyFans. Like, my account is still active. I rarely ever upload anything, but I do message people back if they message me, and it's not making enough money to pay the bills. Like, you know, might cover my groceries for like a week.
GenSpark AI. You've already loved GenSpark 2.0 with Super Agent, AI Office Suite, and AI Media Agents, but now it's evolved into to give it a go. Consider a thought experiment. Imagine a professional sports league where the same 3 or 4 teams win every year. They have the largest stadiums, the biggest TV deals, and the most expensive players. The other teams are technically allowed to compete, but the rules of the game have been structured over the decades to make it very difficult for anyone new to enter. What tends to happen over time is not...
Hey, thanks for the membership, Goku.
Not just that the incumbents win, it's that the whole quality of play declines. Without genuine competitive pressure, there's no incentive to innovate, to take risks, or to improve. Canada's domestic economy has, in several of its most important sectors, been running this kind of league for 30 years. Take telecommunications. Canada has 3 dominant carriers, Bell, Rogers and TELUS, who collectively hold roughly 89% of wireless subscribers. Canada has, as a result, some of the highest mobile phone bills in the developed world. A comparable unlimited data plan costs roughly twice as much in Canada as in the UK or France. The Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission, or the CRTC, which is what you'd call it if you'd like to get home before midnight, has for years been theoretically open to new entrants. But the practical and regulatory barriers have ensured that meaningful competition never quite materialized. The industry has spent lavishly on lobbying and regulatory intervention. It spent rather less on network investment per customer than its counterparts in more competitive markets. Banking tells a similar story. 5 Canadian banks, the Royal Bank, TD, Scotiabank, BMO and CIBC, hold approximately 90% of deposits in the country. The Canadian banking system is, by design, highly stable. It didn't have a financial crisis in 2008, unlike most of the developed world. This is a genuine achievement, and Canadian bankers will remind you of it at every available opportunity. But stability and dynamism are not the same thing. A concentrated banking sector allocates capital conservatively. It lends to proven assets, existing real estate, established corporations, rather than to new ventures. The startup ecosystem that Canada has quietly built, particularly in AI, has often found that the most growth-oriented capital came from American funds, not from Bay Street. The pattern repeats in airlines, in groceries and in broadcasting. A small number of large incumbents, protected by ownership restrictions, regulatory capture or both, extract returns from a captive domestic market. The economist's term for this is rent-seeking. The polite Canadian term is a stable industry. The consequence is that Canada's labour productivity, the output generated per hour worked, has declined relative to American productivity over time. In 1997, the productivity gap was narrower. Since then, the two economies have diverged by a cumulative 26 percentage points. Canada has not become less productive in absolute terms. It's simply failed to keep pace with an economy where competitive pressure is significantly higher and where venture capital has directed hundreds of billions of dollars into the highest productivity sectors of the global economy. Canada spends less than half the OECD average on research and development as a share of GDP, a figure that has been below the average for 2 decades.
Yep, and everybody's just investing in real estate now.
Running. There's also the question of internal trade. Canada has a free trade agreement with the United States, Mexico, the European Union, and most of Asia Pacific. It does not have a fully functioning free trade agreement with itself, a structural curiosity that has persisted in various forms since Confederation. In January 2005, the average Canadian home sold for 237,000 Canadian dollars. By early 2026, the average had reached $661,000, a nominal increase of around 179%, or nearly tripling in price. Even adjusted for inflation, the gain is still huge. In the country's largest cities, it's been transformational. Now, there's a common comparison made in conversations about Canadian housing that homes have outperformed the stock market over time.
Yep.
It's worth pausing on this. On a straight price appreciation basis, the TSX Composite Index actually outperformed Canadian housing over the same period. And
no, not planning on doing another mushroom trip.
Substantially so once dividends are reinvested. The point is not, therefore, that housing beats stocks. The point is that housing performed like an equity investment in a non-productive asset. A company, when it rises in value, has generally done so by producing something, a product, a service, a patent, a drug, a piece of software. The stock price reflects real economic activity, real production. A house, when it rises in value, has generally done so because land in a desirable location has become scarcer, because planning restrictions have constrained supply, or because a decade of historically low interest rates created a wall of capital.
The U.S. president insists. This time he is serious about his Iran ultimatum.
The entire country can be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night.
Donald Trump says if there's not a deal by 8 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday, U.S. forces will target civilian infrastructure, warning it would only take about 4 hours to cause mass destruction.
Every bridge in Iran will be decimated. Every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition.
That message met by new words of defiance. A spokesman for the Revolutionary Guard.
Get clapped. Trump be clapping cheeks, bro.
Capital seeking somewhere to go. The House didn't invent anything. It didn't employ a research team. It just sat there. This distinction matters because of leverage. If you bought a Toronto home in 2005 for $300,000 with a 20% deposit, so $60,000 down, and that home is now worth around $900,000, your original $60,000 has generated a capital gain of $600,000. That is a 10-to-1 return on the actual cash invested. It's also, in Canada, entirely tax-free if it was your primary residence. If you had instead taken that same $60,000 and put it into a TSX index fund, it would be worth roughly $195,000 today. A solid result, but it gets diluted because of capital gains tax on the profit. The incentive structure this creates is problematic. The rational economic choice for a Canadian household with savings has been for 20 years to put as much money as possible into real estate as early as possible at as high a leverage ratio as your bank will allow. This is not irrational behavior. It's an entirely logical response to the incentives that the system created. It is, after all, how everyone you know made most of their money. The consequences of this are considerable. Housing prices in Canada's major cities now sit at somewhere between 12 and 17 times median household income. The median after-tax income for a Canadian individual in 2023 was $74,000 a year. At the national average price of $661,000, the price-to-income ratio is approximately 9. In Toronto and Vancouver, it's substantially higher. In 2020 and 2021, CIBC estimated that roughly one.
Dude, it's insane. Like, you have to make over $200,000 a year in order to, like, reasonably be able to afford a home. Like, you know, you can always move to fucking Nunavut and live in some, like, $50,000 fucking shack, where you don't have any fucking electricity, but, yeah, if you actually want to be able to buy a home, most people have to be earning at least $200,000 or more. It's just fucking nuts.
Third of first-time buyers received a parental gift to fund their down payment. The average amount was 82,000 Canadian dollars, which, as it happens, is slightly more than the median Canadian individual's annual after-tax income. In Vancouver, the average parental gift was 180,000 Canadian dollars. In Toronto, it exceeded.
Dude, what the fuck? Who are these fucking parents?
$130,000. The Bank of Mom and Dad has in certain Canadian cities become the largest mortgage lender in the country. It doesn't, however, publish accounts. Amusingly, in researching this, I found a Canadian real estate industry publication where the author argued that what Canada's housing market needed was further tax relief for property owners on the grounds that this would stimulate more housing transactions. I don't like to beat up on someone, but consider the environment in which it's being made. The average home in Vancouver costs more than 17 times the average income. The suggested solution is to make property ownership even more tax advantaged than it already is. This is a bit like a doctor seeing a patient with high blood pressure and suggesting that they eat more salt. Technically, it will do something, it's just not obvious that the something is helpful. The political economy of this situation is almost perfectly paralysed. Approximately 66% of Canadian households own their own homes, meaning that 2/3 of the electorate have a direct financial stake in keeping house prices high. A government that credibly committed to building sufficient new housing to return prices to something resembling affordability would be asking a majority of its voters to accept a substantial reduction in the value of their single largest asset. In Britain, we identified this as the central political obstacle to housing reform. In Canada, the problem is essentially identical. The 2026 World Happiness Report contains a data point that I find genuinely striking. Canada overall ranks 25th, which is a significant fall from 6th a decade ago, but still a respectable position for a country that is, by any objective standard, wealthy, peaceful and well governed. But when you break this down by age, the picture changes substantially. Canadians over 60 rank in the global top 10 for happiness. Canadians under 25 rank 71st. 71st, below countries with a fraction of Canada's per capita income. That ranking reflects not just where Canada stands, but how fast it has fallen.
Would you recommend penis envy mushrooms for anxiety? Well, when I first started doing mushrooms, I was just getting like street mushrooms. I don't know what strain they were. When I started ordering from a dispensary or getting my mushrooms from a dispensary, I only ever used penis envy mushrooms. And if you're going to take, especially if you're going to take a large dose, I've noticed the penis envy mushrooms compared to the random mushrooms I got from like, street dealers. They trigger the fuck out of my anxiety during the high. I did a mushroom stream on YouTube. You can still look it up. It has Godzilla in the thumbnail, so it's fairly easy to find. I think it was from like April, like March or April of 2024. I had ridiculously high levels of anxiety, worse than I ever had in my fucking life, like in any one moment. It's hard to tell. I'm good at hiding it, but yeah, I was super, super anxious. So if you're going to take large doses that will cause a trip, they, like, at least for me, they trigger the absolute fuck out of my anxiety. Now, after that last mushroom trip I had, my anxiety was totally gone, but I also cured my depression after that trip. And I can't say that I had any prolonged anxiety after I've ever done mushrooms. If anything, they give me temporary relief. But during the trip, yeah, they make you just absolutely anxious. I've also tried microdosing with penis envy mushrooms. I don't recommend microdosing in mushrooms. It's impossible to kind of figure out what actually is a microdose or what will just give you a mild high. But that also triggers my anxiety when, like, right when I'm on mushrooms and I'm getting that kind of active feeling from them. The best drug that exists for anxiety is testosterone. If you're male, you should not be worried about using testosterone. If you're female, you might have to worry about correct dosing because you don't want to get androgenic side effects. But if you're male, again, it's one of the most well-tolerated drugs ever made. And if you have anxiety issues, pretty much guaranteed testosterone is going to help. So other than that, exercise is extremely efficacious. And like there is obviously evidence with anti-anxiety medications like sertraline, but they don't tend to have a prolonged effect. So you might feel relief for like a couple months, but then whatever method they work in your brain where they affect neurotransmitters, it just ends up not working anymore.
Israel isn't a NATO ally, so why would you expect NATO to intervene on behalf of Israel? It's like if NATO was expected to intervene if Turkey's ally in Libya or Sudan or Syria were attacked. Just ridiculous. It's a defense pact for member states only.
I never said Israel was a NATO ally. I just said they're an ally to the United States. And I already explained all this to you. I can't help it if you're retarded. Thanks for the donation, stupid.
The World Happiness Report tracks the decline in youth happiness since 2011 across 136 countries. Of those, only 3 recorded a steeper drop in Canada: Malawi, Lebanon, and Afghanistan. One of the 3 has a poverty rate above 70%. One has been in active armed conflict. One is governed by the Taliban. Canada is the 4th. There's a clean explanation for this divergence, and it is the housing market. Older Canadians who bought homes in the 1980s, 1990s, or early 2000s have, through the entirely normal process of sitting in their houses, accumulated wealth that would have been the envy of a successful entrepreneur. The median senior family in Canada holds net assets of approximately 1.1 million Canadian dollars. The median family, where the main earner is under 35, holds approximately $159,000. This is not because young Canadians are less capable, less hardworking, or less disciplined. It's because the asset that generated extraordinary returns for the previous generation is now priced at a level that makes it structurally inaccessible without either a very high income, a parental transfer, or both. Youth unemployment reached 14.7% in late 2025. Approximately 914,000 young Canadians, just under 1 million, were classified as NEET, not in employment, education, or training. This is the mechanism of generational wealth transfer that the housing market has created. It's not a conspiracy. Nobody designed it this way. It's simply the predictable outcome of a set of policies, planning restrictions, tax treatment of primary residents, mortgage incentives, and low interest rates that happen to be extremely good for people who owned assets 25 years ago and are considerably less good for people trying to acquire assets today. It also, incidentally, explains why the country's most talented young people increasingly look south. Which brings me briefly to Elon Musk. Elon Musk was born in South Africa. At 17, he moved to Canada, where he held citizenship through his mother, and stayed for approximately 2 years before relocating to the United States. He's now variously the world's richest person, the owner of Twitter, which he acquired for $44 billion and renamed X, and a figure of considerable political controversy in the country that eventually kept him. I bring him up not as evidence of Canada's loss, but because of the underlying pattern. Talented individual arrives in Canada, acquires residency, departs for the United States for better economic opportunities. There's nothing really unusual about this story. It is, in fact, the dominant finding of a July 2025 Statistics Canada study on skilled emigration. The study found that roughly 22,000 to 35,000 Canadians move to the United States each year. More striking, about 60% of those applying for US work authorization from Canada are not Canadian-born at all. They're skilled immigrants who came to Canada first and subsequently moved on. The median US salary offer for these individuals was $137,000, primarily in computer, mathematical, and engineering fields. Canada attracted them, educated them in some cases, and then lost them to a market that paid more and taxed less. The Conference Board has called this the leaky bucket problem. Canada has one of the world's most generous immigration systems. It brings in large numbers of highly educated people, but 1 in 5 skilled immigrants leaves within 25 years, with the highest attrition in the first 5 years, precisely when they're the most economically mobile and most likely to be comparing their Canadian prospects to their alternatives. Canada is not, on this evidence, suffering from a brain drain in the classic sense. It's functioning as a very efficient talent incubator for the United States economy, which is a service, I suppose, just not one that Canada intended to provide. Since 1997, Canadian labour productivity has fallen progressively behind that of the United States. The cumulative gap is now approximately 26 percentage points. To put that in terms that I think are more intuitive, for every dollar of output generated by an American worker in an hour, a Canadian worker generates roughly 74 cents. This is not a story about working less. Hours worked per Canadian are broadly comparable to those in the United States. It's a story about where those hours have been directed. The economy has channeled its investment, human, financial, and physical, into sectors that produce lower output per unit of effort. Real estate.
What are your thoughts on Action Man? I've never even heard of him. Fuck. Well, this guy looks retarded.
My name is Aaron. What brings you here tonight?
Hello, Aaron. I'm looking for someone.
You're funny. So
buzzword.
I'll debate him. I don't know who the hell he is, but I'll debate him.
Public administration, retail, and a financial sector that lends against bricks rather than ideas. Canada's business investment in research and development as a share of GDP has been below the OECD average for 20 consecutive years. The gap between Canadian and American R&D spending per capita is large and widening. A country that doesn't invest in the production of new knowledge or new processes eventually finds that its workers are doing the same things in the same ways as a generation ago, which is roughly what has happened. There is a further structural point worth making about the composition of the workforce. Between 2015 and 2025, public sector employment in Canada grew by approximately 30%. I'm not arguing that public servants don't provide valuable services. Many of them do. It's just worth noting that a growing share of the highest security employment in Canada is in sectors that do not, by definition, produce exportable goods or generate productivity growth in the conventional sense. The Bank of Canada's most recent forecast for real economic growth is 1.25% annually. For an economy with Canada's endowments, that is unimpressive.
Yeah.
Approximately 75% of Canada's exports go to the United States.
I don't even believe in these GDP figures anymore. They're just bullshit. Most of the, well, all of it really, of the technical increase in GDP is basically just to artificially inflated costs. So people are just having to pay more, and then you just see wealth climbing to the top. And just the way things balance out, you end up seeing positive GDP figures, but well and truly we're basically in stagnant, with stagnant GDP.
For reference, total merchandise exports to the US represent roughly 1/3 of Canadian GDP. No other developed economy is so comprehensively tethered to a single trading partner. This concentration was, for a very long time, a reasonable arrangement. The United States was a stable, rules-based market. The two countries shared a border, a language, a legal tradition, and a broadly aligned foreign policy. NAFTA, and later the USMCA, provided a framework of predictability. Canadian businesses rationally chose not to spend money developing Asian or European market access when the American market was so large, so close, and so accessible. The problem with concentrating your economic exposure to a single counterparty is that you're entirely dependent on that counterparty's goodwill and continuity of policy. Recent events have illustrated this risk with some emphasis. Nowhere is Canada's strategic exposure more visible than in energy. Canada holds the world's third largest proven oil reserves, the vast majority in the Alberta oil sands. The United States is the overwhelmingly dominant customer. Because Canada has historically lacked sufficient tidewater export infrastructure to access Asian or European markets, it has sold oil at a consistent discount to the global benchmark price. WCS is a heavy sour crude, more expensive to refine than the lighter American benchmark, and some discount is structurally warranted. But the historical gap of $15 to $20 per barrel was consistently larger than the quality differential alone would justify. The excess reflects a transportation premium that accrued not to Canada, but to the American Midwest refiners, who, for decades, were the only buyers with ready access. The Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion entered commercial service in May 2024. It added approximately 590,000 barrels per day of capacity, bringing total Trans Mountain capacity to around 890,000 barrels per day. The WCS-WTI discount has narrowed since then, from roughly $19.82 to around $12.52 per barrel. This is progress. The pipeline cost approximately 34 billion Canadian dollars to build, against an original 2012 estimate of 5.4 billion Canadian dollars. That is a cost overrun of roughly 530%. It remains one of the more spectacular infrastructure project management failures in recent Canadian history. But it is built, and it is moving oil to tidewater.
That's the Liberal government for you. It's a combination of Liberal government and Native Indian tribes. Like, oh my God, don't get me started on the fucking Native Indian tribes.
More interesting counterfactual is Energy East. Energy East was a proposed 4,600-kilometre pipeline that would have carried 1.1 million barrels per day from Alberta to St. John, New Brunswick. The Canaport terminal at St. John had already received 300 million Canadian dollars in upgrades and can accommodate supertankers, much larger vessels than those serviced by the Vancouver terminus. Energy East would have opened Atlantic and European markets in addition to Asian ones. It was cancelled in October 2017 following years of regulatory review, shifting political winds and organised opposition. Several Canadians I spoke to in researching this video described the cancellation as the single most consequential strategic error in recent Canadian economic history. Canada also has internal trade barriers that function, according to the IMF, like a 6.9% tariff on domestic commerce. A wine producer in British Columbia cannot easily sell to a restaurant in Ontario. A construction worker licensed in Alberta may need to re-qualify to work in Quebec. A medical device cleared in one province requires reapproval in another. Eliminating these barriers, which has the support of 95% of Canadians, according to polling by Angus Reid, could, according to various estimates, add between 90 billion and 200 billion per year to GDP. This has been known for decades, but the barriers remain.
The reason it has so much public support, but nobody in government, in parliament, no prime minister has tried to push for it, is just because of corporate corruption and how they get funding for their political campaigns and shit and parties.
On the topic of trade balance, Canada runs a goods trade surplus with the United States, but it runs an overall current account deficit when you include services and investment income. This distinction matters because Canada is sometimes characterized in trade discussions as a surplus economy in the Chinese mold. This is not accurate. Canada runs structural deficits in services, in tourism, in intellectual property, in financial services that offset its goods surplus. Canada is, in aggregate, a net importer. It is.
Oh, look at that. Harper era.
Surplus. Canada.
Like, I mean, just fuck me, dude.
Is, in aggregate, a net importer. It is not a mercantilist economy systematically accumulating foreign reserves at the expense of its trading partners. It's a country that sells raw materials and manufactures less than it buys. I've spent the better part of this video cataloguing what's gone wrong. In the interest of intellectual honesty, I should spend some time on what is not. The FT's Tej Parikh, in two pieces that I would recommend to anyone thinking seriously about Canada's economic position, makes a point that I think is underappreciated. Canada's endowments are extraordinary. It has the resources, the institutions, the human capital, and the geographic position to be not merely a well-functioning mid-sized economy, but as Parikh puts it, a genuine economic superpower. Canada's endowment...
All the clips from our debater going viral on X. Yeah, I noticed I triggered the fuck out of a lot of Christians. It's pretty great.
As I described at the outset, are extraordinary, the kind that most countries would consider a permanent structural advantage. What's less well understood is the institutional capital that sits alongside them. The Maple 8, Canada's 8 largest pension funds, collectively manage around 1.6 trillion Canadian dollars in assets. They are amongst the most sophisticated institutional investors in the world. If structured as a sovereign wealth fund, they would be the third largest in the world. Canada's university system produces, by international standards, excellent graduates. A 2025 survey suggested that approximately 17 million university-educated people globally would choose to move to Canada if they could. Canada's AI research ecosystem, centred on Montreal, Toronto, and the Vector Institute, is genuinely world-class. Geoffrey Hinton, Yoshua Bengio, and Richard Sutton, three of the most consequential figures in the development of modern AI, all did their foundational work in Canada. The country has something real to build on. Canada also holds the G7's lowest net debt to GDP ratio and deficit as a share of the economy. Its fiscal position is, relative to peers, a genuine strength, which means that it has the capacity to invest if it chooses to. The question is whether external pressure might finally produce the internal reforms that domestic politics have persistently failed to deliver. There is some reason to think that it might. The trade tensions of recent years have created in Canada a political consensus around economic self-sufficiency that was absent for most of the last 3 decades. The internal trade barrier discussion, which has been a polite academic conversation for decades, suddenly became urgent. The pipeline question acquired new political salience. Parikh's phrase that Canada has spent too long being a client state and branch plant economy of the United States, which would have been controversial to say even 5 years ago, is now being quoted in the House of Commons. The case for optimism, then, is not that Canada will automatically get better. It's that the conditions that might force it to try, external shock, generational transfer of political power, a recognition that the status quo is no longer sustainable, are, for the first time in a generation, in place simultaneously. Crises, as it turns out, are occasionally useful. If you found this interesting, you should watch...
Yep. Canada is just being retarded. I think we're just on a perpetual downhill trajectory, especially with liberal leadership. They have no fucking idea what they're fucking doing. Like, people talk shit about conservatives and Republicans being more supportive of like private industry and big corporations and shit and corporate corruption. It's a valid, like, it is a valid kind of point, but when everyone ends up being able to make more money and everyone's wealthier, who the fuck cares? Versus when you have liberal leadership, again, it's not like you don't end up running into the same fucking problems. They're complete whores. They will do and say anything and cheat and lie to get ahead. They are the biggest fucking whores imaginable. So you end up seeing the same fucking problems where liberals are fine with making weird market restrictions, basically creating pseudo monopolies because, again, they're big lobbyists and political donors and shit pressure them to do it. So what touring bikes do they got? It's just the Goldwing, right? NT 1100. I'm not interested in that. Goldwing. 30K. That is an expensive bike. They're really fucking nice, though. Really like the Honda Monkey. It's kind of cool. Might get a Honda Monkey at some point. The Africa Twin is really nice. I like the Africa Twins. This is just their standards, right? CSL 500.
Jasmine.
Fuck. Cruisers. The Rebel 1100 is fucking tiny. Wait, did they get rid of their Shadow? They don't have the Honda Shadow anymore? How in the fuck? It wasn't under the standard category, right? That's fucking stupid. How the fuck could they get rid of the Shadow? Dude, that... Oh, wait. No, am I stupid? No. Yeah. What the fuck? How the hell could they get rid of the Honda Shadow? Dodo donated $2. Something happened in the past 6 months. Postal Simon can't explain. Brain data helps, but doesn't complete the picture. Feels like a home I didn't know I was looking for. Trying to figure out what to do with that now. I don't know what he means by that. Oh. Gay retarded bullshit.
We're in Congress right now, and there's this beautiful exhibit focusing on reading being fundamental, but it's also talking about a crisis in literacy in this country. I looked at these statistics, and I started crying when I saw them, because these are statistics about proficiency in reading. At a 4th grade level, on the national level, 69% are not proficient in.
Well, I'll tell you why that is. It's because we need eugenics.
Deal with birds' feet. Maybe not something you've given too much thought to before, but I'm telling you that you should, because they're pretty cool. But firstly, why am I holding these birds anyway? That's because I'm licensed to fit them with unique metal rings and collect data so that we can learn more about them. Now, most birds have feet like this. 3 toes facing forward, 1 toe facing back. Remind you of anything? This arrangement of toes is called anosidactyl and is very similar to that had by their ancestors, the theropod dinosaurs. It works well for a range of things, particularly perching. If we take a look at this bird's foot here, we can see that with the leg bent, the toes are closed. But if we straighten this foot out, watch what happens. The toes open as this tendon straightens. Closed, open. So you can see there, if you're a bird sleeping up in a tree at night, your toes are going to be locked onto that perch while ever the leg is bent. It takes the bird to wake up in the morning, straighten out its leg to unclench those toes before they can fly away. A pretty neat trick to make.
That's interesting. People are making AI of this loser just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.
Okay, so what if Trump isn't an idiot? What if losing the war in Iran is exactly the plan? Let me show you something the media will never tell you.
Yeah, that is AI. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Way too many idiots these days. Oh man, I am feeling it now, Mr. Krabs. Fuck. Know what I'm saying? Fuck. Wow. That is some crazy shit. You can legally buy and possess and use testosterone in Canada. Steroids are legal, and mushrooms are basically legal too. You can just get mushrooms at local dispensaries here. And there's plenty of online dispensaries too. Wonder if I can blast them from a distance. Fuck.
Jasmine's.
No. Oh shit. Fuck. Those fuckers are tricky.
Can you please react to this slop from Tar? It triggered me and I want you to share in my trigger.
Which is especially remarkable when you consider that this is only February. Last night, the U.S. and Israel jointly launched what Trump has dubbed a massive and ongoing operation in Iran. Operation Epic Fury is what the government is calling it, which lets you know the country is now being run by 4chaners. Already, we're hearing reports of a primary school in southern Iran where 85 people, mostly girls between the ages
Like, do I have to watch this? It's all the same. They all make the same video, so.
of 7 and 12 years old were brutally slaughtered in a bombing strike. Whether this bombing was carried out by Israel or the U.S., our tax dollars funded it. Many of the same people who cried their crocodile tears over the victims on Epstein Island are currently justifying this war, which will cause more suffering and death than 100 Epsteins ever could have. It comes as no shock that this war was not authorized by Congress, was not...
Yeah, so even if that's the case, this is for long-term freedom of the Iranian people and safety for the rest of the world, so...
debated in any meaningful way, was not voted on, was not subject to even...
This is communist propaganda that Congress does not need to even be informed, and Congress doesn't have to rule on any military action. Stupid.
Richard the First asked you like 3 times to change the light bulb. Why haven't you done it yet, dude? While I sit on my ass and play video games all day, I'm not tall enough to reach the light bulb. Also, you need to mow the lawn. Haha, you can't reach that grass.
Mm-hmm.
The tiniest ceremonial ritual of democracy. It was simply announced, like a new iPhone, like an update to the terms of service of America. We've made some changes, and by continuing to live inside this country, you consent. And the worst part of all of this is that I find that I don't actually care. Intellectually, I recognize...
Who cares? Great. The guy just listens to commie propaganda. Thanks for the donation, Tool. Oh my god. Oh, this section is so hard.
I miss your wife.
Damn it. Fuck. Oh, it's so annoying. fuck? Oh, there we go.
Is that? No, it couldn't be. That's not. It's Samos's hut. But what? How?
If a woman wants
Where?
to take
Why?
tests
We're in the
for
future,
depression,
Dax.
does she have to worry about clitoral
This
enlargement?
horrible place
Probably not for replacement doses.
Our world.
Time to take a break and look at Diver Sailor Hawkins. She has a nice ass and I think she's vegan.
Decent first attempt, but the difficulty is too low.
A lot of divers have nice butts. Yeah, nice butt. Thanks for the donation, Chris. Where am I going?
Let's go back to the city.
Oh. There's a precursor orb.
I think we need to go back to the city, Jack.
Yes, that's where I'm going, jackass. Yeah, there's a precursor orb.
Re-entering city.
Seal off the area.
Finally, now we get to see the shadow. What do you gotta do around this place to get noticed?
This area is full. Attention, my loyal citizens. We are looking. Controlling Sector 9. Be advised.
The Metalheads have always feared you, Angry One. Even now, the Metalhead leader realizes you can destroy him and save the last chance for our race. You now have control of another dark power.
Moving to next sector.
Nice.
I've got suspicious activity in this sector.
Nah, I never use caffeine pills.
One way or other.
Nothing so far. I've got suspicious activity in this sector.
Shadows decided it's time to meet you.
Why is that place in the old ruins so important to you?
There's a powerful energy force at the old house. The metalheads are drawn to it.
No kidding. We used to know the guy that lived there.
So, you're the new recruits who keep getting into trouble.
Oh, no, not you!
Welcome to our humble underground movement. I am known as the Shadow, but you may call me Samos. And you are?
Jeez, Jack, we went through all that to meet His Holiness? Old loggerhead Grandpa Green?
Don't you know who we are?
Sorry, kid. Never seen you before. And I never forget a face. Especially one that ugly.
So it begins.
How is this possible? We came through the rift with you. Into the future, right?
Yeah, you used to look older than dirt and uglier than a knotted stump. What gives? Did you get a little nip and tuck while we were gone?
Listen, boys, I don't know what kind of twigs you've been chewing on, but I don't have time for this. We've got a baron to overthrow, a child heir to protect, an invasion of metalheads to stop, and a city to save. I'd say the schedule's pretty full. Besides, I haven't gone through any rifts. I hate teleporting.
Sure sounds like the old Samos.
Right now, I need you to go to Haven Forest and root out a few metalheads. That forest is my source of power, but I can't protect it much longer. Chase down and destroy all the metalhead scouts you find there. Good luck, and welcome to the fight.
Please advise. Suspect's description.
Please give generously to the Baron. Sweeping for suspects.
The Underground said you needed some help. You won't be able to catch those metalheads in the forest on foot, so I've left my jetboard at the airlock near the city exit. Since you're helping the Underground, I'll even let you keep it.
Patrolling Sector 9.
Hey, nice. Jetboard, here we come.
Be advised, I'm on foot. Sweeping for suspects. This is Unit Alpha. We're en route.
Nothing so far.
Moving to next sector.
Ah.
the jetboard's ours! I call shotgun.
Leaving city safe zone.
Oh. That's not how that worked. I remember this one being particularly difficult.
Use your jetboard. Why isn't it? Should be giving me a speed boost. I don't know if you slightly outpace them without the boost. There we go. Damn it. There we are. Damn it. Nice. Is it square to grind? Yeah.
Oh, I see. Where the hell's this metalhead? Are we like skipping a step or something? I didn't see one there. Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, the fifth element was not great. It's fun, but not great. Oh, there he is. Maybe he didn't load in. Yeah, that must have been some weird thing. Does taking Cialis before a lift help? Some people say it does. Oh, fuck. God damn it. Oh, hey. Oh, I didn't know you can dive. Oh, God. There we go. Oh, my God. Oh my God. Fucking goddamn it. Nice. Why does it say there's still 2 dragons? I killed all of them. It did. The number didn't go down. Am I crazy? Oh, is it in this? I think it might just be for this area. Okay, that should not have happened. Fuck. The fucking shit. It's not letting me go on the grind rail. There we go. And that should be it.
Boys, come on back to the hideout. I have another task for you.
Re-entering city.
Seal off the area. This area is off limits. This is Guru. I just talked to my racing client, and she told me you're pretty good with that jet board of hers. My sources say a shipment of Crimson Guard listening equipment just arrived in the port. None of us, including the underground, want those devices up and running. It's not good for business. Ride the jet board out into the port and destroy every Crimson Guard crate you find. There's sure to be a defense perimeter, so watch out, eh? Rolling Sector 9.
Attention, my loyal citizens.
Suspect on foot! Subject not in sight.
Jasmine Gaines 1 is in the chat. I love that Jasmine Games 1 is spamming Jasmine.
Oh my god, dude. One last one, and we're probably not gonna make it. Oh wait, there it is. Yay.
Excellent work, Jack. Even I am impressed. That should keep those unscrupulous Crimson Guards out of our business. What's the world coming to when you can't buy off a few guards with bribes?
Why don't you go back on Breakfast Tacos channel? Also, are you going for that Guts physique?
Well, I'd say I'm already bigger than Guts. Going more for Kazuya Mishima physique. Thanks for the donation, Josiel.
Baron sent his goons to harass me as usual, eh? Health violations, back taxes. Everyone wants a piece of me. Oh well.
Lucky for you, there's plenty to go around.
Destroying that cargo in the port is more important than you know, eh? I've got a new project going, and I don't need anyone snooping around my shipments. Let's just say, if everything goes as planned, I'm going to corner the market in metalhead trophies. Anyway, I have another job for you. An associate of mine, Bruta, works with me in the forced labor trade.
You mean the slave trade?
I prefer freedom challenged. Lurkers are the city's low-class labor. Bruta pays me handsomely to help him free lurkers and get them safely out of the city. Oh, it lifts my spirit to help those in need. And I need his money.
Lurkers? We don't like lurkers.
But you do like gun upgrades, eh? There are 3 Crimson Guard transports carrying lurkers to a project the Baron has outside the city. Take out the transports and bring the 3 lurkers to Bruta's trinket stand in the bazaar.
Alright, so what's this upgrade? Weapon ammo capacity. Hell yeah. That's why you do those crew missions.
I've got suspicious activity in this sector.
I'm playing this with open goal.
This is a no-hover zone!
Stop! Hey, Fang Boy, hurry up and get in. We'll take you to Bruta.
No! You're some pain! Pulling more Hellcat! No! Get out of the vehicle!
Holy fuck.
Stop! Open fire!
You just gotta be kidding me. Did you see that shit?
Pull over! Nothing so far.
Oh, wait.
I've got suspicious activity in the sector. No! Call in more help!
Hey, Fang Boy! Hurry up and get in! We'll take you to Bruta!
Stop!
Why does he have a problem getting in the fucking thing?
Suspect
Second
moving
time
to
now.
Sector 6. Take him out!
What the fuck is he doing?
Get more cruisers in here! No! Arrest him!
Get in the fucking car!
Suspect in vehicle!
Holy shit, did you see that?
Suspect fleeing into Sector 5. Get out of the vehicle! Suspect in vehicle! Suspect moving into Sector 6! High-speed chase in Sector 4!
Please!
Call in more Hellcats! Get out of the vehicle! Stop the vehicle! Stop! Suspect moving to Sector 6.
Here's another beast of burden!
Please advise. Suspect's description. Sweeping for suspect.
Yo, animal lover, get your furry butt in a vehicle!
Guys, help us! Suspect fleeing into Sector 5. Suspect fleeing into Sector 5.
Help us!
Suspect moving into Sector 6. High-speed chase in Sector 4. Call in more Hellcats. Get out of...
Another lurker freed.
No! Suspect fleeing into Sector 5. Pull over! Stop, please! Close in!
Fuck, I just want to steal another car.
Please!
You there!
Oh my god.
Oh! Shoot him! Shoot him! Suspect in vehicle. More cruisers in here. Suspect in vehicle.
Jesus.
Fire! Fire! Suspect fleeing into Sector 5.
In the vehicle, buddy, we can save you!
Jesus.
Call in more Hellcats. Stop! Pull over! Suspect fleeing into Sector 5.
Keep away from me!
Suspect moving into Sector 6. Stop the vehicle! Stop! Suspect fleeing into Sector 5. RG warrior, you have do great thing for brutal and lurker people.
No toucher the dude.
Oh, sorry. You great guy. Bruder not forget. Bruder pay you back. You see. Patrolling Sector 9. Be advised, I'm on foot. Sweeping for suspects.
Follow me to a safer future.
This is Unit Alpha. We're en route.
Okay. I am going to try to get to bed now. You ever get off-brand Walmart sodas? No. Haven't tried yet. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get my sleep in order. But I'll be on tomorrow. We should be doing some upper body training, chest, shoulders, triceps. My triceps are like my elbow. My elbows are feeling way better, so I think we'll actually be able to train triceps. But I hope you all had fun. Big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. We'll do training and some normal React stuff tomorrow. Hope you all had fun. Big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs, and I'll see you all tomorrow.